Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Holman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Holman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we talk with Daniel Hetty, the new Government Affairs Director for Kansas Wheat. And inside Kansas Ag, Kansas Soybean talks commission elections, and Kansas Farm Bureau tells us about their new website. And in news you need to know, we get our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. Producers have until September 30th to enroll in the agricultural risk coverage, price loss coverage, and the margin protection program for dairy producers. More than 1.76 million farmers and ranchers are expected to sign contracts to enroll in ARC or PLC. The elections for each farm stay in place through 2018, but ownership and shares can be adjusted through the annual enrollment. For the MPP dairy program, $100 can cover 90% of milk production at a $4 margin, and with incremental premiums, up to an $8 margin can be covered. More than half of the U.S. dairy producers are enrolled in the MPP program. McDonald's has announced that it will fully transition to cage-free eggs over the next 10 years. The fast food giant has been studying the issue since 2010. The company says it has worked with the Coalition for Sustainable Egg Supply to better understand the impact of various hen housing systems on animal health and welfare, the environment, worker health, food safety, and food affordability. McDonald's USA purchases approximately 2 billion eggs. This is a little over 2% of the total U.S. table egg production, which last year totaled 87 billion eggs. A new study conducted by AgriLife Research at Texas A&M for the National Milk Producers Federation finds 51% of dairy farm workers in the U.S. are foreign-born. The report says that if the workforce was suddenly gone, many of the large dairy farms would go out of production. It would also result in a loss of 208,000 jobs across the nation and a $32 billion economic impact. It would also mean a 90% increase in the retail cost of milk. Chris Galen with the National Milk Producers Federation says the report shows the need for comprehensive immigration reform. And in local news, a federal judge in West Texas has overturned the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service decision to list the lesser prairie chicken as a threatened species. Judge Robert Janal sided with arguments by plaintiffs. 5 states, including Kansas, established a range-wide conservation plan to prevent the listing under the Endangered Species Act. In addition, amendments to annual congressional spending bills were successfully introduced in the Senate by Senator Jerry Moran and in the House by Representative Kevin Yoder. Kansas farmers have begun planting their 2016 winter wheat crop. The National Agricultural Statistics Service reported Tuesday that 1% of the winter wheat in the state has now been seeded. This is about average for this time of the year. The agency's weekly snapshot of crop condition also shows that 33% of the season's corn crop is now mature. It rated corn condition at 57% good to excellent. NASS reported that 1% of the sorghum has now been cut in the state. Soybeans were rated at 56% good to excellent. Kansas State University's Charles Rice, University Distinguished Professor of Agronomy, has been named chair of the board of the Agricultural and Natural Resources, a major program of the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine starting January 1st of 2016. Rice, a soil microbiologist, will serve a 3-year role. The National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine Board on Agricultural and Natural Resources addresses issues of agricultural production and related matters. Up next in our Ag Feature, we talk with Daniel Hetty, the new Government Affairs Director for Kansas Wheat. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in Southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. IGPawn.com to learn more. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Dick Edwards, 2 miles east of the town center mall on Highway 24.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Poe, here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Dick Edwards, 2 miles east of the town center mall on Highway 24.
Thanks for staying with us this morning. We're at the Kansas Wheat office over in Manhattan. We're joined by Daniel Hetty, who's the new Government Affairs Director for the Kansas Wheat. So, Daniel, thanks for joining us this morning.
Happy to be here.
Little background: you're taking over the position that has been vacated for a little while. So, give us a little background on yourself.
Sure. I am a native Kansan from the eastern part of the state. I went to KU, got my undergrad there, and then I went to law school at UMKC in Kansas City. And then I took a position down in Wichita, working in government affairs down there. And then now I'm up here in Manhattan working for the wheat office.
Well, I know they're excited to have you. So, first time working legislatively, I guess, government affairs type job in agriculture?
Not exactly. When I was an undergrad up at KU, I spent some time in Washington, D.C. working for an ag lobbying firm out there. We did regulatory stuff, also did some agriculture work, and some small business work as well.
Yeah.
So,
What are some of the some of the main things you're focusing on, just kind of coming in and session's not going on here in the state of Kansas. Everybody just went back to work in Washington. What are some of the priorities you may have?
Yeah, it's been a good month to sort of get caught up and brought up to speed. Not a whole lot's been going on, so it's been good for me to sort of get my feet wet. As far as on the federal level, there's obviously the waters of the United States is a huge issue for us and for farmers all over the country, as well as trade agreements and expanding markets for Kansas farmers. Another issue, one that is kind of in the same vein, is working with Cuba, trying to expand farmer access to Cuban markets.
What about on the local level, statewide?
Sure. On the state level, every year, obviously, when session comes around, there's things we pay more attention to. One example is in Kansas, there's been some effort to try and change the way ag land has been valued in regards to property taxes. We're trying to educate members of the state legislature about how farmers pay taxes, how much taxes they actually pay, and trying to make sure that we protect our farmers.
Long term, looking kind of down the road, I know Section 179, which is a tax issue moving forward, is that something that you're also kind of working on?
Yeah, we monitor all anything that could affect our members. That's one in particular. Ag machinery tax exemptions, sales tax exemptions for ag activities. Those are the sorts of things that we're really kind of focused on right now, based mostly because of the position the state's in.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to finish up with Daniel over at the Kansas Wheat Office. You're watching kansasAGreport. We'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
We're at the Kansas Wheat Office today, and we're joined by Daniel Hetty, who is the new Government Affairs Director for Kansas Wheat. And in the first segment, we were kind of talking about maybe some of the issues that you were dealing with. You know, we're not in session here in the state, but some of the waters of the U.S. and things like that you're dealing with. Each commodity here in the state of Kansas kind of has its own, I guess, government affairs: livestock, corn, soybean. What makes Kansas wheat different than some of those other commodities?
Yeah, absolutely. Kansas is unique, or Kansas wheat is unique, mostly because Kansas is just a different product than corn is, or soybeans, things of that nature. There's just different challenges that wheat has that a lot of other commodities don't. And another unique part is 50% of Kansas wheat is exported. So we have more of a global focus. We look towards not only what's happening in Kansas, but what's happening in the country, what's happening in the continent, and what's happening in the world as far as wheat production. So it's not just necessarily a Kansas wheat thing, it's more on a global scale than some of the other commodities.
Well, we talk about a global scale, and you look at corn, for instance, and maybe some of the other commodities where GMOs are playing a huge factor in either exports or people not taking exports when it comes to GMOs. Same issue face Kansas wheat?
Not quite in the same way. It still affects Kansas wheat, but in a different way, because there's currently no commercially available forms of GMO wheat, mostly because other countries won't accept GMO wheat, so there's no point in us producing it, because like I said earlier, a lot of our wheat is exported, and if we can't export wheat, then it's difficult to farm. So as far as GMOs go, it's something that is probably coming down the line in the future, but it's not a viable option for us at this current moment in time.
And the last minute we have together, Daniel, is maybe some of the priorities that you're kind of looking at as we finish out the year.
Absolutely. As we spoke earlier, tax, both on the state and federal level, the way farmers are taxed is obviously an issue, as well as the waters of the United States. There's lots of litigation going on right now, with different courts ruling differently on how the federal government can approach regulating waters. And then sort of the final thing is, as we spoke earlier as well, access to markets on a global scale. You know, Cuba is a huge issue for us, making sure that Kansas farmers can export their wheat to Cuba.
The Kansas Soybean Commission reappointed its 2 members at large for another 3-year term and elected its 2015-2016 officers during its fall meeting, which was August 13 in Topeka. Jerry Jeske of Robinson and Lance Rizak of Onega will continue as commissioners at large. Their term coincides with that of Kurt Marth from Oakley, who the soybean farmers in Districts 1, 2, and 3 re-elected in March to represent them. The commissioners also conducted their annual officer elections. Dennis Gruenbacher of Andale will serve as chairman, with Rizak as vice chairman. Marth was re-elected secretary, and James Wanitzer from Horton, treasurer. The remaining commissioners are Ron Oldie of Palmer, Kent Romine, Great Bend, Robert Hazelwood, Barryton, and Mike Beller from Howard. Craig Gigstad of Valley Falls, who serves with Hazelwood and Oldie on the National United Soybean Board, is an ex officio, non-voting counselor to the commissioners. Established in 1977 and headquartered in Topeka, the Kansas Soybean Commission oversees investments of the legislated Soybean Checkoff Assessment in research, consumer information, market development, industry relations, and farmer outreach to improve the profit opportunities for all Kansas soybean farmers. You can learn more at kansassoybeans.org on the web.
KFB, the state's largest farm organization, works with farm and non-farm members. And we're excited to announce that we recently launched a new website, kansaslivingmagazine.com. It includes digital viewing of our quarterly membership magazine, Kansas Living. The site provides an opportunity to share the story of agriculture in a fun and updated way. The content is useful for all of our audiences, urban or rural, farm and non-farm. The website will be updated weekly and will highlight the latest feature articles from Kansas Living, including recipes, fun activities for the family, and current contests offered by Kansas Farm Bureau. For example, we have recipes from Chef Alley that are perfect for busy families who are getting back into the swing of school. The new website coincides with an updated look and feel of the Kansas Living printed magazine. After survey results showed our readers especially like the recipes and activities they can do in Kansas with their families, we saw this as the perfect opportunity to make a change. We're looking forward to providing educational, useful content to our members, and we're confident that this change is positive. The fall 2015 issue of Kansas Living is available now at kansaslivingmagazine.com. And we were excited to partner with New Boston Creative Group here in Manhattan to design the new magazine layout and website. To learn more, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Impact Satellite, your local authorized DirecTV dealer. Impact Satellite at 785-554-5974.
All the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this? Yes, we can. But we'd prefer to give you the straight talk, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You hear it all the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this? Yes, we can. But we prefer to give you the straight talk, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Ag economists at Kansas State University suggest the beef industry must make strengthening demand a priority as herd size and beef supplies increase in the next few years. Associate Professor Glenn Tonzer and Professor Ted Schroeder believe this starts with understanding the factors driving beef demand and recognizing cattle and beef prices are directly tied to beef demand strength. They used the current understanding of beef demand and observed opportunities to identify key areas on which the industry should focus its dues and check off resources in the coming years. The list starts with enhancing the understanding of demand concepts for decision-making and investment prioritization purposes. Other areas of suggested emphasis include assessing export prospects and identifying target countries, understanding the changing demographics of U.S. households and gearing beef marketing efforts accordingly, improving consumer perceptions of beef safety and quality, and better comprehension of why the industry has experienced a multi-year period of beef demand strength. Tonzer and Schroeder admitted this list is not all-inclusive as other opportunities exist and will arise over time. Given that more investment alternatives exist than are feasible to fund with current industry resources, they hope their recommendations will serve as a useful resource as potential investments are deliberated.
Good morning, I'm Cody Wintersheet with Paragon Ag. The September 11th USDA crop report was another highly anticipated look into the outlook of this year's extremely variable corn and soybean crops. The USDA did lower the yield and production for corn as expected, but it did the opposite for soybeans. But even more noteworthy was the fact they reduced the 2015-16 ending stocks for both corn and soybeans, domestically and globally. Although this report does give us more hope moving forward, we very well may need to get further into harvest for better confirmation. Because we still remain in an unstable global economic environment, along with questions regarding the timing of a U.S. interest rate hike by the Fed, will likely keep things on edge moving forward. But each passing day gets us that much closer to the true story of our crop's potential this year. We feel, however, rather than getting caught up in trying to predict the size of the crop and how that relates to price, a producer should really crunch their numbers for cash flow needs and look for ways to capture the carry in the market and better basis opportunities in the future, all while staying open to market price advances. By having a well thought out plan laid out, you put yourself in a position to be patient and sell your grain on your terms rather than when you have to sell. If you have any questions on the markets or how you can start to view your marketing differently, Give us a call at 888-452-8751. Have a great week.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.